people would get legitimately elected, and then they would try to do away with elections and do away with opposition and do away with a free press. And you could see it in countries where, well, Hitler was duly elected.
That's right.
Right? And so all of a sudden, somebody with those tendencies, those dictatorial, authoritarian tendencies would be like, oh, okay, we're going to shut this down. We're going to throw these people in jail. And they didn't usually telegraph that. Trump is telling us what he intends to do.
Welcome back to Tipping Point. I'm your host, Kara McKinney. That comes courtesy of the same woman who says we're cult members who need to be formally deprogrammed. Again, that wasn't an idle threat she made, like the intel agencies leaking nuggets of information here and there to prime the public for something that will happen down the road. That is what Hillary, one of the most powerful and well-connected people in the world, is doing. She's laying the groundwork for some kind of gulag for us. This is how they get away with saying that democracy isn't democracy when conservatives elect someone we don't like. Therefore, we have to make the decision for them on who's going to get elected. Election fortifying, in other words. Because for Hillary to keep her strained and fake analogy going, how could she sit back idly and let, quote-unquote, Hitler get reelected duly? By her very own stupid argument, she's saying that something needs to be done to stop him and it's not going to be constitutional. But in the same breath, she'll say that calling the presidential election of 2020 rigged is domestic terrorism and you should be thrown into a gulag for it. See the power dynamic she's throwing back in our faces, that she can call the 2016 election stolen and then intimate that for the good of the country, they need to steal elections from Trump because he's literally Hitler. But if you say anything close to that about them, you're a scary insurrectionist who needs to be kicked out of polite society. It's not hypocrisy, it's power. Sovereign is he who decides on the exception. So here you have Hillary warning that Trump is Hitler and like Hitler can be voted into office, which again tells me she's priming her audience to accept unconstitutional and undemocratic means of making sure that can never happen. And also think about this. The official narrative about the outcome of the last presidential election gave them everything they wanted. Trump got kicked out and was replaced by Biden. And yet we're supposed to believe that they have absolutely no motivation to ever steal an election. I mean, come on, I wasn't born yesterday. Just like I talked about last night when it comes to the RICO cases in Georgia brought by Soros-backed DA Fani Willis. The state is still not releasing election data to the defendants or to anyone else for that matter. Like the J6ers have had security footage and other exculpatory evidence hidden from them. Again, if we were so wrong in our claims of fraud, then they should be more than willing to prove it to us just so they can laugh in our faces. Unless, of course, they're lying, like they lied about Russiagate and COVID and George Floyd and everything else. And now the funniest thing ever is happening in Pennsylvania, so get a load of this. Reading now from the AP quote. A voting machine company's clerical error caused votes in an eastern Pennsylvania county to appear to be flipped on a ballot question that asked whether a pair of incumbent state appeals judges should be retained, officials said Tuesday, end quote. State officials say only the printed text included the mistake, but that the machine still tabulated the votes correctly. But still, the point remains votes can be flipped, accidentally or not. Just like the Democrat mayoral primary in Bridgeport, Connecticut being tossed because of Democrat operatives caught ballot stuffing. This is just a random one-off occurrence though, right? It's never happened before or since. Don't ask any questions or get thrown in the gulag. I think we all know the answers to my facetious questions. Joining us now to discuss is Republican Pennsylvania State Senator Doug Mastriano. Doug, thanks for being here tonight.
It's great to be back with you. And it's like kind of like ignore the facts, ignore the man behind the screen. There's nothing to see here. You know, as you rightly pointed out, it was flipping for both the Democrat and Republican. But it brings the question, the reliability of these systems. This particular machine, Kara, is in 53 of our 67 counties, pretty consequential. So where was the glitch? Why didn't the county, who's responsible for the conduct of the elections within their local government, why didn't the county pick it up? How did the state miss it? The state certifies these machines in the software. So once again, it just adds more questions to the integrity of elections in Pennsylvania. And, I just don't know what to say about it. I mean, we need transparency. We need to be able to walk in and see that our vote counts, not watching magically it's flipping as we're literally standing there.
I know, and it's funny because you've probably heard the joke, especially it was pertinent during the era of COVID, where things that we were told were conspiracy theories, things that we pointed out, remember, and then all of a sudden they were reality a few months later. The mainstream media would report on it, but in such a way where they still try and hide a lot from us.